Viraj Horwitz thought he had covered every detail. Shanvika Horwitz believed no one would suspect a grieving wife. Dr. Riven Dutt was certain his financial tricks would erase all traces. But when Lanny Horwitz's bloodied body was found in his locked bathroom, their perfect plan started to unravel, revealing a chilling web of betrayal, greed, and deadly family secrets no one saw coming. On the morning of September 3rd, 2022, the usually quiet neighborhood of Koregaon Park in Pune woke up to flashing police lights and hushed whispers. Villa No. 14, one of the most luxurious homes in the area, had become the scene of a horrifying discovery. Inside the grand house, Lanny Horwitz, a 64-year-old textile magnate known for his immense wealth and powerful connections, was found dead in his bathroom. His body lay motionless on the cold marble floor, a pool of dark red blood surrounding his head. The initial sight suggested a gunshot wound to the temple, with blood splattered on the bathroom mirror and walls. His wife, Shanvika Horwitz, made the emergency call at 6:43 a.m., claiming she had stumbled upon her husband's body when she woke up. The first police responders arrived at the scene and assumed it was a suicide. After all, the door to the bathroom was locked from the inside, and there were no signs of forced entry anywhere in the house. However, things started to look suspicious when the investigating officers realized there was no gun at the scene. In cases of suicide by firearm, the weapon is typically found close to the body. Here, there was nothing, not under Lanny's hand, not near his body, and not in any visible corner of the bathroom. The absence of the gun raised the first red flag. Inspector Viraj Solanki, a seasoned officer known for solving high-profile crimes, was called in to lead the investigation. He instructed his team to secure the entire house and not allow anyone to leave until the forensic team arrived. Within hours, forensic experts combed through the bathroom and the surrounding areas for clues. They checked the locks, searched for fingerprints, and analyzed blood patterns. What they found deepened the mystery even further. The lock on the bathroom door was an older model one that could easily be manipulated from the outside with a thin tool or pin. This suggested the possibility that someone could have staged the locked door. Scenario. As news of Lanny Horwitz's death spread, media vans lined up outside the villa, reporters speculating about what had happened. Many of Lanny's business partners and acquaintances described him as a tough but fair businessman. He was known for his success in the textile industry and his recent expansion into real estate. However, rumors had been circulating for months about trouble in his personal life. Whispers about disputes within the Horwitz family had started to surface in social circles, but no one could have imagined it would end in tragedy. Inside the villa, Lanny's wife Shanvika appeared shaken, her hands trembling as she spoke to the police. She claimed that she had gone to bed early the night before and had no idea what had happened until she found Lanny the next morning. Her stepson, Viraj Horwitz, who was supposedly studying in London, was not present at the house, or so it seemed at first. The initial investigation also uncovered that the household staff had been given the night off, a rare occurrence for the Horwitz family, known for their strict daily routines. Nidhi Kalra, the family's longtime housekeeper, told officers that Shanvika herself had asked everyone to leave early that evening. Nidhi also mentioned that the security cameras in the house had not been working properly for the past 2 days, something the family had allegedly planned to fix but hadn't yet addressed. Inspector Solanki knew from experience that wealthy families often had layers of secrets. Something about the scene didn't sit right with him. If this were truly a suicide, where was the gun? Why were the cameras turned off? And why did the household staff conveniently have the night off on the very evening of Lanny Horwitz's death? Each question led to more suspicion, and Solanki was determined to peel back every layer of this seemingly perfect family's life until he found the truth. As the investigation into Lanny Horwitz's death continued, Inspector Viraj Solanki turned his focus to the people closest to the victim. The first layer of suspicion naturally fell upon the family. From the outside, the Horwitz family had always appeared flawless, respected in Pune's elite circles, attending charity events and making headlines for their successful business ventures. But behind closed doors, the truth was far more complicated. Lanny Horwitz had built his textile empire from scratch, starting with a small dyeing unit in the 1980s and expanding it into an international brand. His wealth and business success brought him both admirers and enemies. However, according to close associates, his biggest problems weren't in the boardroom, they were inside his own home. It soon became clear that Lanny's relationship with his wife Shanvika had been deteriorating for years. Friends and staff members quietly revealed to the police that the couple often fought over money, property, and trust issues. Lanny was known to be strict and controlling, while Shanvika resented being treated like a trophy wife, despite managing several charity foundations on her own. A bigger shock came when investigators uncovered financial documents in Lanny's private study. He had recently changed his will, removing his son Arav Horwitz as the primary heir. Originally, Arav was set to inherit the majority of Lanny's business and properties. However, in the months leading up to his death, Lanny discovered that Arav had secretly been transferring funds from one of the company's accounts into a private account abroad. The sum totaled nearly 8 crore. A betrayal that deeply affected Lanny, who prided himself on his strict financial ethics. According to the revised will, Lanny planned to leave most of his assets to charity organizations, effectively cutting both Arav and Shanvika out of his fortune. Inspector Solanki also found records of recent meetings between Lanny and his legal team. Emails and call logs showed that he had been preparing to announce these changes publicly within a week. This revelation shifted the case's perspective. The murder now appeared to have a clear motive: money. But money wasn't the only issue. Bubbling under the surface, the investigation revealed that Lanny's marriage had other cracks. Forensic analysis of Lanny's phone uncovered multiple messages and late-night calls between Shanvika and Dr. Riven Dutt, a close family friend and Lanny's financial advisor. The frequency of their private communication suggested a level of intimacy far beyond professional discussions. This affair was known only to a few insiders, but Lanny had discovered it shortly before his death. According to one of his friends, Lanny had confided that he was planning to confront Shanvika about it and possibly file for divorce. The household staff also mentioned that in the weeks before the murder, there had been unusual tension in the house. Nidhi Kaura, the housekeeper, reported overhearing arguments between Lanny and Shanvika late at night. She also noticed that Arav, despite claiming to be in London, had been receiving courier packages at the villa addressed in his name. When questioned, Shanvika explained this away as paperwork related to Arav's overseas studies. But now investigators viewed it differently. The deeper the police dug, the more layers of deceit they uncovered. The seemingly loving Horwitz family was unraveling into a web of betrayal, greed, and hidden agendas. Inspector Solanki was no stranger to complicated family crimes, but the Horwitz case felt different. It was becoming clear that Lanny's murder was not a sudden act of violence. It was the result of a long-standing power struggle within the family, fueled by resentment, secrets, and the fear of losing control over wealth. As the pressure mounted, Solanki knew he needed to connect the dots quickly. The missing gun, the tampered cameras, and the suspicious financial activities all pointed toward premeditation. But who among the family had actually pulled the trigger? And who had helped cover it up? The case was rapidly moving beyond a simple investigation of death. It was evolving into the exposure of a family empire built on lies. Inspector Viraj Solanki directed his team to dig deeper into the night of the murder. While the financial motive was becoming clearer, the sequence of events still had too many gaps. The most puzzling detail remained the disabled security system. The Horwitz villa was equipped with high-end security cameras monitored remotely. Yet, on the night of Lanny's death, all cameras had mysteriously stopped recording between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. The security system logs revealed that someone had manually disabled the cameras from the internal network. This was not something an ordinary person could do. It required specific technical knowledge. The police's cybersecurity team traced the manipulation back to a remote access point that was connected to Viraj Horwitz's personal login credentials. This discovery raised a critical question. Viraj was supposedly in London for his postgraduate studies. His social media showed recent posts from cafes and libraries in the UK. However, when authorities checked immigration records, they learned something shocking. Viraj had flown back to India 2 days before the murder. He had used a private charter service from Dubai to Mumbai, leaving minimal public records behind. His phone was registered as active in London because he had left his secondary device there to create a digital alibi. Further investigation revealed that Viraj had not stayed in a hotel but had spent both nights in Pune at a rented Airbnb under a fake name. CCTV footage from the Airbnb building confirmed his identity. The plan was carefully crafted. By controlling the security cameras at home and maintaining his online presence abroad, Viraj tried to create the illusion that he was far from the crime scene. Unfortunately for him, the technical footprint left behind was not as invisible as he thought. Meanwhile, the forensic team made a crucial find in the villa's garden. Nidhi Kalra, the housekeeper, had mentioned that she saw freshly disturbed soil near the back flower bed just 2 days before the police sweep. Acting on this tip, officers used metal detectors and unearthed a small parcel wrapped in plastic beneath the soil. Inside was a semi-automatic handgun, the missing weapon. Ballistic tests confirmed that it was the firearm used to kill Lanny Horwitz. The serial number had been scratched off, but the forensic team was able to recover partial markings, linking the gun to a purchase made by Dr. Riven Dutt through an unregistered dealer 6 months earlier. Dr. Dutt, when confronted with this evidence, became visibly nervous. Phone call records revealed that he had spoken to Shanvika for over 40 minutes just 3 hours before the murder. Further investigation into his finances exposed large sums of money being transferred into anonymous cryptocurrency accounts, suggesting attempts to hide transactions. A link was established between Dr. Dutt and Viraj's offshore accounts. The pattern of communication and financial movement suggested not just an affair between Shanvika and Dr. Dutt, but a complex partnership between all three, Shanvika, Viraj, and Dr. Dutt. The police realized that the night of the murder was not a random crime of passion, but a well-orchestrated operation. Viraj had returned secretly, disabled the security system, and gained entry into the villa using a spare key hidden in a garden pot, a key known only to family members. The gun was smuggled into the house, Lanny was shot at close range, and the scene was staged to look like a suicide. After the act, the gun was buried under the garden soil. Cameras remained disabled for 4 hours, and Viraj quietly slipped back into hiding. Despite the seemingly flawless plan, small mistakes unraveled the conspiracy. The tampered security system, the recovered weapon, and the contradicting timelines began closing in on the culprits. Inspector Solanki knew that the case was nearing a breakthrough. Each new discovery tied the suspects closer to the crime. Now it was no longer a matter of if they would be caught. It was a matter of how long they could keep up their lies before the truth tore them apart. With the core suspects under intense scrutiny, Inspector Viraj Solanki shifted the investigation to uncover the precise roles each of them played in the crime. The evidence collected so far pointed toward a carefully planned conspiracy rather than a single act of violence. It became clear that Lanny Horwitz's murder was not the result of one person's greed or anger, but a collaborative effort fueled by multiple motives. The inspector's team compiled timelines, cross-referenced calls, and traced financial records to understand the deeper connections between the suspects. Forensic analysis of the recovered handgun revealed not just fingerprints, but also microscopic fabric fibers from gloves that matched a pair found in Viraj Horwitz's rental apartment. His digital devices contained deleted but recoverable files, including security system access codes and hacking tools installed days before the murder. Even more damning were hidden messages exchanged between Viraj and Dr. Riven Dutt through encrypted chat applications. The tone of the conversations made it clear that this was more than just casual communication. They discussed terms like the exit plan and final shift, phrases that matched the timeline of Lanny's death. The messages revealed that Viraj had been in touch with Dr. Dutt for weeks, planning not only the murder but the financial cleanup afterward. As investigators peeled back the layers of the conspiracy, Shanvika's role became increasingly suspicious. Bank statements showed that she had withdrawn large amounts of cash days before the murder. In her personal safe, police found a set of documents that included a forged version of Lanny's Will 1 that left everything to her, completely bypassing charity donations and cutting out any corporate trustees. A handwriting expert confirmed that Shanvika had practiced Lanny's signature repeatedly in a personal diary, another critical piece of evidence tying her to the fraud. This revelation clarified her motive: fear of losing her luxurious lifestyle and social standing if Lanny went forward with his charity plan. Interviews with close family friends revealed more disturbing details about the Horwitz family dynamics. Lanny had become increasingly isolated in the months leading up to his death. He had stopped attending social gatherings, canceled business trips, and refused calls from longtime associates. Several people reported that he seemed paranoid and distrustful, even hiring private investigators to monitor his own wife and son. The reports from these investigators, found locked in Lanny's home office, confirmed his worst fears. Shanvika was involved in an affair with Dr. Dutt, and Viraj had been laundering money through shell companies in Singapore. Lanny had planned to confront both of them and cut ties permanently. The final piece of the puzzle came from analyzing GPS data from Viraj's phone. Though he tried to erase his location history, advanced forensic recovery techniques retrieved logs showing his precise movements. His phone had pinged off cell towers in Pune, not London, on the night of the murder. Combined with the Airbnb footage, it was impossible for him to maintain the illusion of being abroad any longer. Faced with overwhelming evidence, the police conducted simultaneous raids on Dr. Dutt's office, Viraj's rental apartment, and Shanvika's bedroom safe. Each location held clues that tied the suspects together: shared financial accounts, digital communications, and coordinated plans for after Lanny's death. Dr. Dutt had drafted documents to transfer Lanny's corporate shares to a fake holding company controlled by Viraj. Shanvika had plans to move to Dubai immediately after the inheritance transfer was complete. Inspector Solanki realized that what started as a murder investigation had evolved into exposing a complex web of financial fraud, emotional betrayal, and cold-blooded planning. Each suspect played a critical role. Viraj was the executor of the crime. Dr. Dutt was the strategist, and Shanvika was the motivator and facilitator. Together, they thought they had created the perfect crime. But one by one, their calculated moves were unraveling. The cracks in their plan were now gaping holes, and the truth was about to become undeniable. As the final pieces of the investigation came together, the case of Lanny Horwitz's murder reached its climax. Inspector Viraj Solanki, armed with undeniable evidence, prepared to make arrests. The media had already picked up fragments of the story, but the real depth of the conspiracy was far darker than the public imagined. This was not just a family tragedy, it was a cold, calculated plan driven by greed, betrayal, and desperation. The police arrested Viraj Horwitz first. When confronted with the CCTV footage from the Airbnb, the recovered weapon with his fingerprints, and the incriminating chat logs, Arav initially denied everything. But his story quickly collapsed under the weight of digital forensics and forensic ballistics. Investigators found traces of gunpowder residue on clothing retrieved from his Airbnb trash bin, a detail he had overlooked. His devices showed attempts to wipe hard drives and delete messages, but recovery software restored much of the data. His pattern of behavior revealed clear premeditation. He had not only planned his father's murder, but also designed a cover-up that he believed would protect him from suspicion. However, technology and human error left trails he could not erase. Shanvika Horwitz's arrest came next. Police found her attempting to transfer large sums of money to an offshore account in the hours after Arav's arrest. Her defense was that she was unaware of the murder plot and that she had only prepared the forged will out of fear of being left with nothing. But the evidence told a different story. The forged documents, the coordinated bank withdrawals, and the recorded calls with Dr. Dutt painted a clear picture of her involvement. It was revealed that she had helped plan the sequence of events from the very beginning, instructing household staff to take the night off and arranging for the garden to be cleaned, which allowed the murder weapon to be buried unnoticed. Her affair with Dr. Dutt was not just an emotional escape, but part of a broader plan to seize full control. Lanny's wealth after his death. Dr. Riven Dutt tried to distance himself from the actual murder, claiming he was merely a consultant who had provided financial advice. But the police uncovered encrypted files on his office computer, containing detailed plans for asset transfers and forged paperwork prepared in advance of Lanny's death. He had been an integral part of the conspiracy, advising on how to manipulate the will, move company shares quietly, and launder money through shadow companies. His fingerprints on the gun purchase records, his role in financial arrangements, and his communications with both Shanvika and Arav placed him directly at the center of the scheme. Court proceedings became a media sensation. The public watched as the once respected Horwitz family faced trial, their private lives exposed for the nation to see. The prosecution presented a timeline that left no room for doubt. Arav returned to India secretly, disabled the security system, and executed the murder. Shanvika facilitated the logistics, ensuring the household staff would not witness anything. Dr. Dutt managed the financial aftermath, preparing for a swift takeover of Lanny's assets. During the trial, the trio turned on each other, each trying to minimize their role while shifting blame to the others. Arav claimed he was manipulated by his mother, saying she pressured him into killing his father. Shanvika argued that Dr. Dutt orchestrated the entire plan to gain control over Lanny's wealth. Dr. Dutt insisted he only helped clean up the financial mess, denying direct involvement in the murder itself. But the physical evidence, digital footprints, and financial trails told a clearer, unbiased story. In the end, the court found all three guilty of conspiracy to murder, financial fraud, and evidence tampering. Each of them received life imprisonment without parole. The Horwitz legacy, once a symbol of success and wealth, crumbled under the weight of their crimes. Lanny's empire was dismantled, his businesses placed under government control, and his properties auctioned to repay stolen funds. The gruesome discovery that began with a single dead body had unveiled the darkest corners of family betrayal, where love was replaced by greed and trust shattered by ambition.